His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, was a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, and therefore his entire life, including his passing from this mortal world, was a perfect example of Krishna consciousness. This video depicts his final pastimes. During his last months in Vrindavan, His Divine Grace continued to instruct his disciples, discuss the affairs of ISKCON, and translate Srimad Bhagavatam. On his request, his disciples maintained 24-hour kirtan and readings from the scriptures. Srila Prabhupada invited all his disciples to be with him as he passed the test we all must face. However, due to circumstances often beyond their control, most of his disciples were not present. Now, those who choose to can experience those precious moments. Although these scenes can be emotionally wrenching, they do depict a rare transcendental event, the last chapter in Srila Prabhupada's glorious life. The final lesson.
Out of many thousands of men, one may endeavor for perfection. And among many millions who have achieved perfection, one may be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Such a devotee who is fully peaceful is extremely rare.
Being situated in his original Krishna-conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee's having a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee, but despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It's exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which remain pure although filled with bubbles, foam, and mud during the rainy season. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water.
Since we cannot visually experience the presence of the Supersoul, out of his immense compassion, the Supersoul appears before us as a pure devotee, the spiritual master. Such a spiritual master is as worshipable as Krishna is, for in his dealings there are no activities but those of transcendental loving service to the Lord.
Adi Purusha, Namaha.
The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that by even a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. That moment is human society's greatest treasure.
Seeing the spiritual master with devotion and reverence is the perfection of one's eyesight. Touching his lotus feet is the perfection of the sense of touch. And glorifying his qualities is the tongue's real activity.
And he says, karma hetu.
Karma hetu. If we engage in devotional service, we get a different nature. And if we engage in the business of sense gratification, the result is different.
And then that karma is tad dehopalabdhi hetu.
Yeah. And according to the association of different nature, we get a body. Karanam gunasangasya satasat janmajoni. Therefore, we should always seek good association, devotee association. Then on life will be successful.
And then last it says the gunas, satvadayo, jnana vikshepa moha hetavaha.
Jnana, if we live with good association, then we cultivate knowledge. That means association. A man is known by his company. So, if we have the chance of association with devotees, then our character, nature become different. By hearing, by discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, this Rajagun Tamagun are subdued. Then Satagun remains. Nasta prayasu, over there. Nityam bhagavatasya. Then Satagun, Tamagun cannot do us harm. Therefore, varnashram dharma is so essential that people remain in Satagun. Tamagun, Rajagun, Rajastama bhava increases lust and greediness, and that implicates the living entity to exist in this material world in many, many forms. That is very dangerous. Therefore, they should be brought into Sattva, that is establishment of Varnashram Dharma. How to bring people in Sattva with Brahminical qualification, very neat and clean, rise early in the morning, this Mangalarati in this way, to stay in Sattva.
The body, mind, and senses of the pure devotee, acting only for the satisfaction of the Lord, are transcendental and are taken charge of by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Being awake to his constitutional position, the pure devotee is situated in Samadhi, the highest perfectional stage of yoga. Being fully absorbed in devotional service, he does not care what is going on with the external body. Such a confidential devotee of the Lord sees in every moment, even a most difficult moment, the special mercy of the Lord.
Pure devotees are themselves places of pilgrimage. Because of their purity, they are constant companions of the Lord, and therefore they can purify even places of pilgrimage. For such a pure devotee, there is no difference between living and dying, because in this life he engages in pure devotional service, and after giving up his body, he engages in the same service in the spiritual world. Thus, his devotional service is never hindered, nor does he perceive the pangs of death. The pure devotee does not forget Lord Krishna, even for a moment, and Lord Krishna never forgets his devotee.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material world is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the spiritual master, opens the door of liberation.
The spiritual master's eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord by training his disciples in a service attitude. This service attitude, along with knowledge of Krishna, is such a great gift that it is impossible to repay the benefactor.
Our dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because our association with material desires, one after another, we were gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant, Srila Prabhupada, kindly accepted us as his followers and instructed us how to achieve the transcendental position. Therefore, our first duty is to serve him. How could we leave his service?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Sharadamandalilokam Pranayakadina Ghana Ghanatyam Raktasya Kalyana Gunanamasham Kandi Gurasi Charanarvindam Mahaprabhu Kirtan Nityagitam Madhitramadyan Manashurasina Romanchatam Pasutaram Bhajo Vande Gurasi Charanarvindam Samsaradavalalilaloka Pranayakarinya Ghana Ghanatyam Bhaktasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Bandi Gurasi Charanarvindam Hara Dhana Nityanana Singara Tanmandigamarjanadavu Iktasya Bhaktangsya Nijanyatoki Gandhi Gurasi Charanarvindam Chaturvidhasi Bhagavat Prasada Sadvanna Trityan Haribhakta Sanghan Trittaiva Trittim Bhajato Sadaiva Vande Gurasi Charanarvindam Samsaradava Nalinigalokam Pranayakarinya Ghana Ghanatyam Siradhika Madhavayarapara Madhujalila Gunarupanam Siradhika Madhavayarapara Madhujalila Gunarupanam Satikshana Sadhananupasya Tikshana Sadhananupasya Vande Gurasi Charanarvindam Samsaradavalalilaloka Pranayakarinya Ghana Ghanatyam Bhaktasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Gurasi Charanarvindam Nikunya Junarati Kali Siddhai Gajali Vidutir Apekshaniya Nikunya Junarati Kali Siddhai Gajali Vidutir Apekshaniya Trati Dakshadati Vallabhashamani Guraki Charanadavindam Vande Gurasi Charanadavindam Vande Gurasi Charanadavindam Akshadhari समस्त शास्त्रैः ऋक्तस्तथा भापतैव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभुज प्रिय एव ताश वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे प्रसादात् भगवत् प्रसादम्
Raja Vrindavan Govinda Dina Madana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Dina Madana
Srila Prabhupada was the crown jewel on the head of this world. Without him, this world is bereft of its valuable ornament. Yet, in Srila Prabhupada's absence, there is no need to become despondent, because there is no difference between Srila Prabhupada's instructions and Srila Prabhupada himself. He is personally present in his instructions. In his absence, therefore, Srila Prabhupada's words of direction are the pride of his followers. Their implicit faith in his words is their success.
O virtuous devotees, thus we have seen the departure of Srila Prabhupada, and this is just to increase our desire for him, because the more we hanker for him, the more we will be freed from all material desires.
hallowed be thy name. My Lord, Krishna, the personality of Godhead, let your holy name be glorified. This is our moment. It is not a sectarian, it is very scientific movement. Scientific movement because at the present moment we are all godless, forgotten what is God and what to speak of His name. They do not believe in God and what to speak of His name, fame, His place, His activities, His form, His quality. How we can know? There is no educational system about the science of God. This movement, Krishna consciousness movement, is teaching the science of God. God is absolute. Absolute means there is no difference. Just like in the relative world, this is relative world. Material world means relative world. Relative world means the sun. As soon as I say the sun, there must be a father. As soon as I say a friend, there must be another man, friend. As soon as I say water, there must be something as water. But in the absolute world, the name water and the water is the same. This is called absolute. No different separation. So in the kingdom of God, the God is God and His Son is also God. So by chanting Hare Krishna, you are directly in contact with God. This is the meaning of Hare Krishna. We think we are enjoying, but we are suffering actually. And because we cannot understand what is suffering, suffering there is, sometimes we come to understand, but we are accepting this suffering as enjoy. A man is working very hard, whole day. This is not enjoyment. You have got a car, but you are running at 70 miles speed, going to your business, and there you are earning hundreds and thousands of dollars. So you are thinking that you are enjoying, but this labor is suffering, you forget. And in order to forget this suffering, then I take to wine, take to this, take to that, to forget this suffering. So actually we are suffering, but we are accepting it as enjoying. This is called illusion. Anyone who is very much sensuous, very much attached to sense gratification, they are called demo. And those persons who do not indulge in sense gratification, but utilize this body or this life for God realization, Krishna realization, they are called gods. There are two classes of men, demon and God. Those who are engaged in God consciousness, they are not God but godly. And those who are not, because this human life is meant for this purpose, forgetting our Father, forgetting our God. We are criminal within this material world. Therefore, our only business is how to get out of this prison house and go back to home, back to God. God is like you and me, a person. But He is Pacific Ocean, we are dropped.
Question was, in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a scripture that we study, it says that Krishna did not want us to come to this material world. The question is, if Krishna did not want us to come, why are we here?
Yes, you force Krishna to allow you to come. Just like sometimes a child forces the father. Father says, my dear son, do not do this, do not go. But he insists, well, I must go, I must. All right, you go at your risk. That's all. And you suffer. What can be done? Because you are God, because you are son of God, God has got independence, full independence, almighty. Therefore you have acquired the quality of your father. You have got little independence. The God does not interfere with your little independence. Beginning from Lord Brahma down to the worms in the stool, gradually, according to your work, according to your desire, you manufacture your different types of body and enjoy and suffer. That's all. In their main senses, we cannot understand what is Krishna or God, His name, His form, His attributes, His pastimes. We cannot understand by these blunt material senses. Then how it is to be understood? After all, this human life is meant for understanding God. That is the only business of human life. The nature, material nature gives us this opportunity to have this human form of life. The facility of this life, or this form of life, is given to us just to understand God. Other forms of life, cats and dogs, trees, and so many other things. There are 8,400,000 forms of life. So in other forms of life, it is not possible to understand what is God. If we call all the dogs of your country, come here, we shall talk about God. No, there is no possibility of understanding. But in the human form of life, there is possibility. Doesn't matter whether it is in India or America or Australia, any human being, if he tries and if he reads the scriptures, never mind Bible, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad, then he will understand God. The beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Janmadasya Jataha, absolute truth is that from whom everything has come into existence. Now, what is the nature of the absolute truth? Everything means there are two things, matter and spirit. Two things. Just like this table is matter, and We, living entities, we are spirit, spirit soul. This material body is my covering, just like dress. Every one of us is dressed, covered by some kind of dress. Similarly, all living beings, they are dressed by the material covering. So we, the spirit soul, part and parcel of God, at the present moment, we are covered by two kinds of dresses. The subtle dress, mind, intelligence and ego, and the gross covering. Subtle means we know there is this thing but we cannot see. Just like you know I have got mind, I know you have got mind, but I don't see your mind, you don't see my mind. I know you have got intelligence, you know I have got intelligence, but we don't say, don't see what is that intelligence. Similarly, identification, I am this consciousness, that also you have got consciousness, I have got consciousness, but we don't see. So things which are not visible to these material eyes, that is called subtle. And spirit soul is still subtle. Human life is meant for understanding that spirit soul and the Supreme Soul.
In Krishna consciousness, the process is to get beyond the disease of material existence.
Yes.
The first part of his question, how to do this. The second part of his question, what is the end result after taking to the process?
The process is to transfer yourself from material energy to spiritual energy. We are under energy. The God has got two energies, material energy and spiritual energy. We are also energy. We are marginal energy. So, marginal energy means we can remain under the material energy or on the spiritual energy, as we make our choice. Marginal, just like on the beach, you find sometimes on the border of the water is covering the land and sometimes the land is open. This is called marginal position. Similarly, we are marginal energy of God, living entities. So, we can remain under the water, means the material energy, or we can remain open also, and spiritual energy.
What is our view of Lord Jesus Christ?
Jesus Christ, Lord Jesus Christ, He is Son of God, the best Son of God. So we have all respect for Him. Yes.
Saint Francis, the founder of this particular order, which we have been invited to speak to, found God in the material world, and he used to address the aspects of the material world as brother and sister, brother tree, sister water, like that. What is your view upon this?
The real God consciousness. This is real God consciousness. Yes. Not that I am God conscious and I kill the animals. That is not God conscious. To accept the trees, plants, lower animals, insignificant ants, even as brother. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankati samas sarveshu bhuteshu. Sama means equal. to all living entities, to see the spirit soul, anyone. It doesn't matter either he is man or cat or dog or tree or ant or insect or big man. They are all parts and parcel of God. They are simply dressed differently. One has got the dress of tree, one has got the dress of king, one has got the insect. That is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Pandita samadarshina. One who is pandit, learned, his vision is equal. So, if St. Francis was thinking like that, there is higher standard of spiritual understanding.
Smile there.
Turn back, Prabhupada.
Yeah.
What is this sound means?
That means begin to roll. Action. That means action. When they snap that, that's the beginning of the shooting. The boy who's pulling the cart in the red, he's making one documentary film all about your stay here in Australia. And then it will be distributed to the government. Actually, this is an independent film, so it can be put into library, and people can get it for their schools, colleges.
To understand Krishna is very difficult job. Krishna has personally said in the Bhagavad Gita, Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid jatati siddhaya. Out of many, many millions of persons, not only at this age, in the past also. Manusyanam sahasras, out of many millions of persons. Kaschit jatati siddhaye, one is trying to become perfect. Generally, they have no knowledge what is perfection. Perfection they do not know. The perfection means to stop this process of birth, death, old age and disease. That is called perfection. Everyone is trying to be perfect, but they do not know what is perfection. Perfection means this, that when you are free from these four imperfections, what is that? Birth, death, old age and disease. Everyone, nobody wants to die, but there is forcefully, you must die. That is imperfect. But these rascals, they do not know. They think that we must die. But no, because you are eternal. You are not meant for death. But nature is forcing you, must die. God is the Supreme Being, full with 6 kinds of opulences, therefore He attracts everyone. This is the definition of the word Krishna. This Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna, the perfect person. The pains and pleasure on account of this material body we have to feel. But if we come to the spiritual platform, that is understanding of the soul, then in any condition we shall be happy.
Another question? Yeah? Yes, sir?
Do you consider your movements the major form of enlightenment emanating from the United States today? Where is your movement? What order of priority has your movement in the White House Psychological Warfare Department, the CIA? And will you also be coming along to our July 4 demonstration again this year to try and fuck it up and divert people away from taking up real political issues concerned with Australian independence?
We can answer one at a time. I can answer them for you, do I? Our movement is not coming from the United States. If you have some paranoid stigma about everything coming from the United States, well, that's your hang-up, not mine. Second of all, our spiritual master, he came to the United States to start this Krishna consciousness movement because he got a free ticket on a boat to go there. And because it was the mercy of this one lady who gave him the free ticket on the boat, he came to America on the orders of his spiritual master. This is the reason he came to America, to start Krishna consciousness. If you had sent him a free ticket, he probably would have come to Australia first. He was a monk, a penniless monk in India, and he was trying to follow the orders of his spiritual teacher by spreading love of God. Some people would say that Krishna consciousness is too austere.
Huh?
Too austere.
Yes.
Should be taken in stages.
What is that austerity? Huh? You are starving? We say don't eat meat. Is that a very great austerity?
No, that is the easiest to give up.
Then no illicit sex. We don't say no sex. Illicit sex. Huh? So where is the austerity?
Devotees, they must take cold bath.
That is healthy. Because early to rise, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy and wise. That's fact. What to speak of early rise, practically I don't sleep at night. Only 2 hours, that's all. And still, I work early in the morning. What is wrong there? No, I don't sleep like that. You got one big dongle?
Yes, always.
You can take on a small dongle. What is that?
It's your sweater. This is your sweater and hat. Like that.
So, everything is all right. This is Krishna. Give them these flowers.
I can distribute this rascal?
Yes.
Red tag in there? Huh? Pack it up with some Jodis and some Viva.
All of a sudden one day he came to office and he said, I want to go to America. I said, are you crazy? Why do you want to go there? What will you do? Who will look after you? What will you do there? So he said, kya karo, jana. I said, all right, I'll make this arrangement, then you go. So when the arrangement was made, he was in Bombay. I made all this arrangement with the captain and the ship went.
In 1970, Srila Prabhupada returned to India with some disciples. When Srila Prabhupada arrived in Bombay, you could say he took Bombay by storm. People were astonished that Americans and Europeans and Orientals could totally accept Krishna consciousness and Vedic culture. I'll never forget the program at Chowpatty Beach that was organized by the Bharat Sadhu Samaj. There were thousands of people. I could never imagine that so many people could gather in one place to hear spiritual discourses. And we started the kirtan sitting, and gradually all the devotees stood up on the stage and began to dance at the front of the stage. Pretty soon, the whole group of us were chanting and dancing through the audience, thousands of people. And they were standing up, they were swaying on their feet, and they got completely captivated by the whole mood, and the whole atmosphere was completely transformed.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
One of our close friends and supporters, Sadaji Whitlaw, suggested that we should put on our own pandal. I mean, for us to put on our own pandal then seemed impossible. But Srila Prabhupada encouraged us. By the end of the publicity campaign, everyone knew about the program. And as the final climax to the publicity, Shyam Sundar arranged a blimp that was fixed to the site at Cross Maidan in downtown Bombay, and that hovered above the city, you know, Hare Krishna festival Cross Maidan. And on the opening night, thousands of people streamed into the pandal, and every night we had about 20,000 people, and on the weekends maybe 30,000, and it was a tremendous success. Then one evening, Srila Prabhupada had a ceremony on stage, a marriage. So the marriage featured Vegavan from Sweden and Padmavati from Australia. And they were married with a proper Vedic fire ceremony in front of 20,000 people. Srila Prabhupada declared, "This is the real United Nations." And the whole audience began to cheer and clap, thousands of people. Juhu was just a simple fishing village. There was one hotel there because of the beautiful beach, and there were two more under construction, and it was considered very remote.
The explanation of expert devotees is that Krishna was actually not absent from Vrindavan. He came back with Nanda Maharaj as promised. When he was going to Mathura on the chariot driven by a Krura, and the gopis were practically blocking the way, Krishna assured them that he was coming back just after finishing his business in Mathura. He told them not to be overwhelmed, and in this way he pacified them. We remember him playing in those places because he was constantly visiting them.
From Mahabharata text that this Krishna Lila is Maya. They are surprised how God can be affectionate like this. He is nirbhika, without any attachment. They cannot understand this. Because he is playing exactly like human being. They think, he is human being. Maya, this is like Maya.
How wonderful it is that Krishna took in one hand the big heavy bow made of 3 joined palm trees and broke it very quickly. How wonderful it is that continually for 7 days he held up Govardhan Hill in one hand. How wonderful it is that he has killed all the demons.
Pranaya Karina Ghana Ghanatyam Sapta Sakalana Gunarnavasha Bande Gurasi Charanarabindam Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Baditramadyan Sorasena Ramanchakam Pasutaranga Bhaju Bande Gurasi Charanarabindam Sansharada Varnalalira Loka Pranaya Karina Ghana Ghanatyam Sapta Sakalana Gunarnavasha Bande Gurasi Charanarabindam Sri Vigrahada Dhana Nitanana Singaratan Mandira Marjanado Sivigrahada Dhananitanana Singaratan Mandira Marjanado Yuktascha Bhaktangscha Nijanjatopi Vande Gurasi Charanarabindam Tasya bhaktangscha nijanjatopi vande gurasi charanarabindam Samsharada varnalalila loka Pranaya karuna ghana ghanatyam.
After signing the sales agreement and getting possession of the land, Srila Prabhupada organized a huge pandal right on the Juhu land. And even though it was far from the city and not so many of our friends from the city came, but many of the local people came. And as part of the proceedings, Srila Prabhupada did the cornerstone laying ceremony.
This land was called Nayarwadi. No, it is Hare Krishna land. One day, Guruji was here. Myself, Walia and my wife was there in that room. So Walia said to Guruji that Guruji, Mr. Nair will not give you this land because he had offered by some hotel owner for 36 lakhs. And you have you are purchasing for 14 lakhs. And Mr. Nair has to pay so much income tax. So he must be change his idea and he will give the land to that person who is offered for 36 lakhs. Then Guruji said, there is no matter if he don't want to give this land to us, that he must return our money. But I don't think that he can pay the income tax in this life. So Guruji went at the night to Sydney, and when we awake up in the morning, we heard that Mr. Nair's heart failed and he died.
At the second Bombay Pandal, Sri Sri Kishore Kishori that were later sent to Chicago and installed there were the deities at the Pandal program. And on the last day of the Pandal, during the last kirtan, Srila Prabhupada stood up and began to dance. And of course, the devotees were always dancing whenever there was kirtan in Srila Prabhupada's presence especially. But when he stood up and danced, the devotees went wild. And then Prabhupada began to dance in a circle around the deities, Sri Sri Kishore Kishori, and then the devotees were also dancing in a circle following Srila Prabhupada.
This is Indian pains. Pains and pleasure is the same. It is neither American nor African.
pains and pleasure is the same. So, as soon as this consciousness that I am feeling American pain, American pleasure, as soon as this is over, then we come to the original consciousness. Because consciousness cannot be American or African. If I pinch you, the pain felt by you is the same when I pinch the African. So therefore the consciousness is the same. Artificially we are thinking that American consciousness, African consciousness. Actually that is not the position. Simply this misunderstanding has to be cleared up. That is called Chetadarpana Marjana. Is it not a fact?
Oh yes, sure.
The consciousness of feeling pains and pleasure, can it be American or Indian?
No.
No, it is the same. Artificially we are thinking it is American pain or it is Indian pain. That is artificial. This artificial covering has to be removed. Then we come to Krishna consciousness. Feelings, consciousness is not American, African or Indian. Consciousness is the same. When you feel hungry, is that Americans feel a different way hungry? The African feels in a different way. The hungry appetite is the same. Now if you say this is American appetite and this is Indian appetite, that is artificial. So when you do not go to the artificial platform, that is Krishna consciousness. That is explained in Narad Pancharatra. Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam tatparatena nirmalam. Rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktirishchar. When we become free from these artificial designations, American consciousness, Indian consciousness, African consciousness, there is no such thing. This is artificial. Even bird and beast, they also feel consciousness, pains and pleasure. Just like when there is scorching heat, you feel some pain. Is that American, Indian or African? Scorching heat is every feeling. If you say that I am feeling scorching heat American way, क्यों जी?
हाँ जी।
ऐसा हो सकता है?
नहीं हो सकता।
Simply these are artificial. And everything is depending on consciousness. Everything depending on consciousness. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is the original standard consciousness.
In 1977, we organized the last public preaching program for Srila Prabhupada, the last Pandal program. When Gurudas Prabhu put on the first Delhi Pandal, he invited important persons from different fields to attend as chief guests every night and to speak. So we followed the same pattern now for Srila Prabhupada's last, what turned out to be his last public Pandal program. One evening, Srila Prabhupada had Sarup Damodar Das at the time give a presentation to the audience with slides and different scientific arguments in favor of the existence of the soul. Srila Prabhupada was so pleased with the presentation. As part of the last Pandal program in 1977, the Vaikuntha players performed Ramayana, and the people of Bombay were overwhelmed. They had never seen such a professional quality performance with beautiful costumes, powerful acting, and the mood in the pandal at the time was as if Sita and Lakshman and Hanuman and Lord Ram himself were personally present. Also during the last Bombay Pandal, Srila Prabhupada performed initiations, perhaps the last public ceremony with a fire sacrifice. And many devotees were initiated on Ram Navami Day, and many of them were given names related to Ram. So it was a very poignant moment when Srila Prabhupada left Juhu for the last time. And within our hearts, we all felt that he will not return. And then the car pulled out of the driveway and left Hare Krishna land. We were thinking, how is it that Prabhupada left before the temple opened? It's almost as if his life's ambition had been to see that the temple opened then. And somehow we came to the conclusion that Prabhupada wanted us to feel his presence even in his apparent separation. And we did. We all felt that Srila Prabhupada was present. And we think now, and we thought then, of Srila Prabhupada's own words of dedication to his spiritual master, that he lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him.
Parama karuna bahudui jana nitai gaura chandra. Parama karuna bahudui jana nitai gaura chandra. Sab avatar Sadi Shiramani Sabya avatar Sadi Shiramani Kevala Ananda Kanda Sabya avatar Sadi Shiramani Kevala Ananda Kanda Param Karuna Bahudui Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Kamayap Tarer Siramani Kamayam Tarer Siramani Nitai Gaura Chandrayama Kamyapa Kare Sriramani Nitai Gaura Chandrayama Kare Sriramani Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari
I don't think we have to worry about your disciples being in the criminal courts now, do we? Don't have to worry about that. You have fine followers here.
Yes.
This community. Fine community.
Yes.
Good people.
A magistrate or a lawyer is already graduate. If there is a lawyer, it is to be understood that he has passed his graduate examination. Similarly, if one is Vaishnava, it is to be understood that he has already become a Brahmin. Is it clear? Why we offer you the sacred thread? That means there is Brahminical standard. Unless one is Brahmin, he cannot become Vaishnava. Just like unless one is graduate, he cannot become lawyer. So, as a lawyer means he is already graduate of England. Similarly, a Vaishnava means he is already Brahmin.
So therefore, the Vaishnavas, they are all, they should have no contamination of passion and ignorance. Therefore, they should all be on the platform.
Vaishnava means, Bhakti Parishanubhava Virakti Annattasad. Bhakti means realization of God consciousness. And the symptom of God consciousness is that he is averse to all material activity. He has no interest.
So then the Brahmin has no interest in being, the Vaishnava has no interest in being Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, but he takes some specific occupation.
That is, he actually on the topmost position, he has no interest. But so long he is not so perfect, he has interest. Therefore that interest should be corroborated or what is called adjusted according to the Brahminical, Kshatriya. Because in that time the people are so rotten that they could not understand what is God. Therefore he took out that. First of all, let them become sinless. Then one day will come, they will understand what is God. Lord Crash also said, "Thou shalt not kill." And the people at that time are killers. Otherwise, why does he say, "Thou shalt not kill"? Why this first commandment? Because full of killers. Not very good society. If in a society constantly there is killing, murder, is that very good society? So therefore he first of all asked not to kill. First of all let them become sinless. Then they will understand what is God. And here Bhagavad Gita confirms, Jisam antagatam pavan, one who has become completely sinless. So, God consciousness is meant for the person who is sinless. He cannot become God conscious at the same time sinful. And that is cheating. A God conscious person means he has no sin. He cannot be within the jurisdiction of sinful activities. That is God conscious. You cannot become God conscious at the same time sinful. That is not possible. So, everyone can understand whether I am actually God conscious or not by judging his own activities. There is no need of asking for external certificate. Whether I am fixed up on this principle, no illicit sex, no mitigating, no gambling, knowing talk. If one is sincere, he can judge himself whether I am actually on the platform or not. Just like you are hungry, if you have eaten something, then you can feel strength, satisfaction. There is no need of external certificate. Similarly, God consciousness means whether you are free from all sinful activity. Then it is. A God conscious person will not be inclined to any sinful activity.
रामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I want to say, spread this Krishna consciousness movement. Parama Ananda Kanda. People will be happy. Our mission is to see Sarve Sukhina Bhavantu. Everyone become happy. We don't want to see that we exploit somebody else and I become happy. No. We want to see everyone happy. But they do not know how to become happy. Therefore, we are trying to spread this Krishna consciousness movement that everyone will be happy. Susukham kartumabhyam. In Bhagavad Gita it is Susukham. For the benefit of all the world, Jagat Dhitaya, Krishna, Govinda. But he takes first care, Go Brahmana Hitaya. Go Brahmana Hitaya. He takes care of the cows and the Brahmanas. In other words, in a human society, if there is no protection of the Brahmana and cow, then it is demonic society. Therefore it is said, Go Brahmana Hitaya. The Brahminical culture must be maintained.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Foolish is the last class.
At the present, they are busy foolish.
They're worse than lazy foolish.
Huh?
That's worse than lazy foolish.
Yes. Lazy foolish is foolish, but he is lazy. He will not do so harm. But the busy foolish, he will simply create harm. At the present, the population is busy foolish. So we are creating lazy intelligence. An intelligent man must be lazy, otherwise how he can act intelligent? So well. All right, let me consider. You cannot hope that intelligent man will give his decision immediately.
He can be called lazy, but that's not tama guna.
That is sobriety. Modern tendency is to create busy foolish. The communists, the busy foolish.